Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we are looking at round 9 rather of the 2025 AFL Supercoach season. So another average week I suppose for ourselves, another 2307, which did see us slide 1,000 ranks back outside the top 30k. So not ideal in that sense, but not a disaster by any stretch either. We did get a league win, so we'll take what we can get. But if we have a look at the team, so in defence we had a few hits, a few misses. Harry Sheezel with a 101, that's a pass mark. Geordie Clark with 146 was massive. And Zach Reed was the other big one with a 133. So he's now leapfrogged Bice in terms of price, and probably could get up towards that 450 mark around Fryer. So speaking of which, Fryer with a 79, Bice with a 71, and Roberts with a 72. Hope for a little bit closer to their averages, but that's why they're averages. They're not going to get there every week. In the midfield, so the big dog experiment isn't quite working out. Butters with a 117, Bond with a 99, which aren't terrible scores, but considering the price we've paid for them, we want them to push up a bit closer to that 130 mark and sort of stay out of reach from most other people. Andy Brayshaw was our vice captain, and we took that score in the end. So I think I had it on Dacos initially or something. I can't remember what happened, but someone tipped in Brayshaw for VC, and it just sort of stuck with me. I went for it, and the 154 was massive. And Dacos with 76, just made that choice look even better. Finn Callahan turned up as well with a 104. So I think, we've got 5 decent midfielders. The other 3 we need to work on. So Chera, he's now averaging under 100, which is not great. Clary we held, getting named this week, but only scoring a 64. And then Huswaite, we went with our gut and played with him over Lindsay, and that cost us 45 points. So probably deserved to slide back a bit. And Gross, I think he started as the sub, or he was on the bench anyway, and got 46. So he's made a bit of cash, another 40k, and is moving in the right direction. And the rucks, so we did take the C off Cherry. 154 we were happy with, but we could have got a 186 captain. So well done if you stuck fat with Cherry. TDK with a 104 is, continues to be solid. Horn Francis with a 118 was pretty good. McRae with an 80, a bit up and down, but we'll cop that. Marriage continues his epic form with a 126 this week. Daniel with a 51 is sort of looking like, could be potentially not top 6 in the forward line, but we will hold him for the time being. Ashcroft with a 77, ticking along at his average. Hewitt with just the 33 was a little bit disappointing, but didn't have much better on the bench. Cleary with the 35, Kako with the 30, and Matt Flynn with an 80. We were hoping for a little bit more against Richmond. Who they got this week? They've got Rowan Marshall this week, so not too sure, how much more cash he's got to make. What is the break even currently? Yeah, so 97. He is projected to hit that, but I think that projection is quite generous. But we'll have a look at the head-to-head matchup. So this week I got a win over Baz's Bruisers with the 21.98 for Baz. So he had Brayshaw, but VC Dacos instead. And captain Neil, which stung as well with the 81 for Neil. But I guess the positives for the team, Sinclair with the 124 was good. Jack Silvani with the 102, that'd be a pretty cheap one, I would have thought. Yep, 400k ton, that's always nice. Rankin with a 97. Baz Smith with a 154. Whitfield with a 116 and Zorko with a 166. So he has been a bit down on form after his mad start to the season, but bounced back with that monster score yesterday. Or should I say on Sunday? I do release this on Tuesday, don't I? Yeah, that's a couple of decent options on the bench. Hall and Lindsay. Nice. But across the league, can see a couple of 2500s. There's a few 2500s. So 2572, I think Al's Eagles would be top scorer this week. So let's have a look at Al's team. So he VC'd Brayshaw as well. Max Gorn with a 142. So I guess probably didn't talk about that, but the trades we did, we just brought in Husthwaite for Hall, and it was a bit of a bust. We could have gone the aggressive upgrade to Gorn in hindsight, but yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? He looped in Reed, so that's clever. Rosie with a 134. He should get defender status soon, so that's a nice hold there. Had Marriage, Callahan, Geordie Clark, Horn Francis, Bailey Smith, Cherry, Zorko. So all those big hitters he had, which is fantastic. Well done, Al. So let's have a look if there's anyone we've overlooked in terms of points. So Jack Crisp with a 171. So well done to the 0.5% that own him. Jesse Hogan with a 162. Who did GWS play again? I can't remember. It doesn't really matter now, I suppose. It's all done. But 162 for him is massive. Again, 1% ownership. Brayshaw, Smith, Clark, Andy McGrath's been a popular option in the past. Nick Martin, continues to do well. I think he must be playing as a defender. I'm not sure what he's doing, to be honest. But yeah, he would be interesting in either or line, averaging 100 now for the season. Um, Josh Dunkley continues to go well with a 139. Max Holmes is a popular option, bouncing back. A couple other pods there. Charlie Comben, I remember having him as a rookie a few years ago, a 133. Seems very rocks or diamonds, I think, because he's had another couple of big scores this year, I think. Libba's doing well. Blitzarves, I think he was playing in the ruck this week, a 130, so it could be a potential pod. At 1%, he definitely would be. Ed Richards is going well. Dale bounced back. I guess then we're getting into the 120s, which yeah, is decent, but it's whatever. On the break even front, I don't know if there is a lot of cheapness this week. Probably the best shout would be Boxall. Only scored a 38 though, with Philippou coming back. So negative 46 break even would make some money, and they do have the Eagles, which is a nice matchup. So probably cheapie of the week there. Oscar McDonald might be actually a shout of coming back in, given Darcy's injury. Um, he'll probably play that second ruck option behind Jackson, but one to watch out for on team list this week. Um, Giath has reset his break even with a 132 this week. So I guess if you're looking for a mid pricer, that could be the go. Uh, Jed Buse with 95 in the first game this year. But just, I guess, wait a week on those sort of high priced rookie defenders. I know the one that a few people went this week didn't work out. See if we can find him on the list. Given that he isn't on the list just yet, suggests how poorly it went. So Turner's a bit expensive. O'Donnell, if you had him 115 for a two, he would have been 250k. Defender forward's pretty good. What's his ownership? That's what I wanted to know. Yeah, so only in 800 teams basically, so 0% it's registered as. So well done if you're on him this week. 115 is massive. So yeah, Fonte was the one I was referring to. So on his second game this week at 29, um, obviously the job security is probably a bit nicer. So yeah, if you just want to lock someone in on your bench who could play, he'd be a fair shout. Maybe have a look out for Hayes. Again, don't go early, but a lot cheaper. And on his second game this week, Zach Reed still with a negative break even. That's pretty wild. Clay Hall, I traded out this week. Sandy Brock got his third game and another 60, so well done if you held him. He made you 50k and has still got negative break even. Erasmus was named the sub, so was looking to trade him in, but after he was the sub, I gave it the flick, and yeah, he only got an 18, so it made some money, but I think that was the right call. Um, Cooper Simpson's another one to watch out for, so there could be a couple of downgrade options next week with Simpson and Hayes, but we do have to see how they go this week. So, probably wouldn't go early on any of them. If you are looking for a cheapie, I think Boxall or McDonald, if he is named, are the options. But for my team this week, um, we are going to do some trades, but we're not going to worry too much about cheapies. So I think we're going to do a couple of upgrades without cheapies. So the plan is we're going to trade Chera, mostly because he has the buy in round 12 and we need to offload a couple of those guys. So Chera is the first one on the chopping block. And not strictly a midfielder per se, but we are going to get in Bailey Smith. So we had faded him at the start of the season, and that has backfired spectacularly. You can see he's averaging 116 for the year. So, if we can bring him in for what's that, 60k on Chero, that's not the worst trade in the world. But then the second trade, what we're going to do is we're going to say thanks for Elijah Hewitt making us 170k or thereabouts, and it's probably just easier if I search for him because he'll be well down the list currently. But we're going to bring in Mateus Philippou. So scored 78 in the weekend in his first game back in the AFL. Has West Coast this week, so there is the potential for scoring straight away. I know a few people are probably waiting for a second look before trading him in, but we're going to try and get a few points up on those guys. So we're going to bring Philippou in this week. Nice. We've only got 5k left, and it's definitely an upgrade from Hewitt. So if we lock those trades in, and I guess where that leaves us with our team, if I'm going to switch Baz down here for probably Ashcroft. So, if we look at this forward line, we're pretty comfortable with that. Like Smith, Horn Francis, McRae, Marich are killing it. Philippou, we think, is a keeper. He just obviously was injured to start the season. Um, Daniel could potentially be upgraded to like Petrarca, Warner. We looked at last week potentially, even Rankin. So there is a few options there, but the forward line we're pretty comfortable with for a while. The defense again, we've got these sort of low 500 or sub 500 guys that we would like to upgrade, but overall the defense isn't struggling too much. And the midfield, I've got the big five sort of here. Um, that we just want to upgrade these last three spots over time. We do have a bit of cash on the bench too. We're hoping O'Driscoll is actually back this week. He was projected to return round 10 and was listed as a test last week. So hopefully he comes back in, which would obviously make the midfield look a little bit nicer at M8. And obviously the rucks are doing well. We would like to get Gorn down here in the flex, but it's all just a process. So the team is coming together okay. Obviously, if O'Driscoll can come back and kick a bit of money, we can cash out Lindsay soon enough and upgrade Oliver. Got a bit of money here in the forward line, so we really would like Simpson to kick on next week to access some of that. Defense, we've sort of just about run out of cash with Carroll. Hopefully, McDonald gets that third game, kicks in price. Um, and we'd also have the mid-season draftees will come in. They're usually at 99k. There's usually a couple that play straight away for those underperforming teams. So we are in a position to get a pretty strong finishing squad. We just need to let a couple of things play out, I think. But in terms of the captains and vice captains for this week, um, I guess based on form, probably Cherry on Sunday against Richmond. I get they reckon Richmond have given away a bit to Rucks. It's probably the average has improved thanks to playing Flynn on the weekend. But yeah, we'll lock in Cherry, and then guess a lot of our big hitters do play on Saturday, so it does make it possible. Um, Although I guess in terms of the loop, so TDK does play on Friday to swap with Boyd, which makes it a little bit tougher. But I'm thinking if we go day costs, and then we'll just have to somehow work it out if he goes off. Don't really know how. It all depends on team lists and the like. I suppose maybe I know Carroll's another one who plays fairly early. Gross and Hustwaite are in the team, so we don't really have a lot of looping options this week. Maybe instead of Baz, we could go Took Miller and then VC him on Thursday night up in Darwin. But I think we need to get Baz in, so we can wait a week or two on that sort of move. So I think we just go with this, or do we just look at like a straight C on a Bont or something at Marvel? Maybe he's just the VC and we just write it. We'll see how we go. Yeah, so something like that. Like I said, hopefully O'Driscoll's in. If not, Lindsay will come in. We won't muck around with these fringe player options anymore. Um, yeah, VC, hopefully, like we said, McDonald gets a go with Darcy out for a bit. That'd be ideal. And probably Cleary is a more consistent option than Kako. But can't see him replacing any of these six. So yeah, so that's the team this week. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the AFL content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.